The Outsider is the newest adaptation from Stephen King, and this time it is an HBO original series. I'm assuming this is a one off because this is one novel. I don't think there's an intention for a second season, but we shall see. You never know. This one stars Ben Mendelsohn and Jason Bateman. Those are the two most recognizable names, anyways, in this. And this is about a detective that looks like he has a slam dunk, easy case, obvious case here. There's a person who looks as guilty as humanly possible. They have all the evidence aimed at this guy, and then they receive extremely conflicting evidence to the contrary. And they spend a good portion of the show trying to figure out how that's possible. And then once they figure out how it's possible, they don't believe that that could be how it was possible. And that's all I'll say on this show. Of course, it's Stephen King, so I think you can probably assume in the right direction of which way this will be heading when you're about, a couple episodes in. I sure did. But that all being said, this starts so strong. I've been watching this over the last 5 days with my father and my brother. We watch 2 episodes a night for a total of 10 episodes, and they're about an hour apiece. So, you can knock this out pretty quick, and I absolutely recommend checking it out. And if I was to say if I could classify this in the horror genre, yeah. I mean, it's a detective thriller, but there's absolutely horror. No doubt about it. So I'm not really sure why this hasn't been labeled as horror in some context, because it 100% deserves to be labeled in that way. Now, getting back to this starting strong. I'm not going to say the ending is weak, because that's not how I feel on it, but I definitely felt like the ending was lackluster compared to how promising the beginning of the show was. Man, when that beginning started, I was engaged, I was invested, I was locked in. It was tense, it was eerie, it was confusing, it was exciting, it was great. The atmosphere, all of it was stellar. As it went on, it did feel like it dragged a little bit at times, and when the ending came, I just found myself with too many questions, in addition to sitting there saying, really? Like, that's it? That's how this is going to end? This is where it went? Like, I just feel like with the setup, that what it all ends up being, I just feel like there could have been more going on with that. I just feel like they present this thing like it's going to be an absolutely devastating opponent, and it just didn't feel that way to me as much. Like, I kind of was like, okay, like, that's how we're gonna wrap this up. So I did feel a little underwhelmed, and as I said, I also had some questions that I just didn't get. Not fully. I mean, I can kind of, wave them away for the most part. I'm not really that concerned with it. I just wish that with as strong as it started, had it finished like as strong. I mean, if the beginning was anything like the ending, like if it started that strong and it ended that strong, man, I'd be sitting here and I'd be raving the hell out of this. Now, of course, the production value is high. The acting is fantastic. Like, it's everything you would expect from the talent behind and in front of the camera. But, as usual, Stephen King, and he said it himself, he just doesn't know how to end his books. And if they stick to his endings, like I'm sure this one did. I did not read this book. I've read a lot of his books, but not this one. I think this is yet another example of Stephen King, just that is his Achilles heel. He just has a really, really bad issue not knowing how to close out his stuff. What he is great at, though, and I think what Stephen King is a master of, more so than horror, or more so than anything, is he's just an incredible character creator. He develops characters so intimately, you feel like you know them personally. And anytime you read a Stephen King book, you're never going to, at the end of it, feel like, well, I don't know anything about this character. Like, I didn't really feel invested in this character because I know so little about it. There was nothing for me to connect to. That's just not going to be your problem. Now, you might have a problem with the story, where it ends, all that stuff, fine. But to say you don't know the character, you might not like the character, that's fine. But I'm just saying you're going to know that character inside and out. So his characters are always rich. And as in this show, you have plenty of characters that have a lot of depth to them. You know, they feel like real people. Because that's the way King crafts his characters, as real people. No matter how unreal the events get around the characters are always grounded in reality. They're always grounded in realism. And this is, of course, no exception. But, as I had said, his endings. So, but I want to stress that it's not a bad ending. It's just interesting. Okay. You know, you don't leave going, fuck, oh my God, I got to tell everybody. That's at least the way I felt. And after going to, some sites and looking at the ratings of every episode, it does, kind of reflect that as to where the last episode is the lowest rated episode. Now, that can be true on a lot of shows where people just never are happy with the final result of a show. But if you look at the first couple seasons of most shows that are popular, their ending episodes are extremely highly rated. It's usually not until like the series finale that people shit on the ending. Now, granted, this is, I think, a limited run, so this is the ending. But regardless, I did find myself to be in agreement as to where I'm normally not. I'm usually the guy that's like, okay, like, that wasn't as bad as everyone said. I actually enjoyed that, That's happened to me plenty of times. This one, anybody who's saying like, oh, it's terrible, I disagree with that, but I was a little let down. But yeah, I mean, as far as the characters go, I did really enjoy all of them. We get Holly Gibney in here, who is a character from the Bill Hodges trilogy, the Mr. Mercedes, which was cool to see. This is a different Holly Gibney than the one that we see in Mr. Mercedes and Finders Keepers and so on. End of Watch, right? That's the third one. Yeah, I read all those books. And I've seen one season of the show because it's on DirecTV, but I do intend to watch season 2 and 3 soon enough. But it was cool to see Holly Gibney in here. And as I was kind of alluding to with his character development, all the characters whether I liked them or not, they felt fully imagined, fully realized. The directors had a good grasp on the characters, and every episode they felt, like there was continuity to them. So I did enjoy all the characters very much. The only real issue I had was just how it all wrapped up, and that's that. But outside of that, man, I absolutely recommend it. I enjoyed the whole damn thing, and I look forward to talking about it with you guys in the comments below. So let me know when you watch it, if you watched it already, and we'll talk about whatever you got to say about it. But I'm going to keep this spoiler free from here. I kept the synopsis extremely vague because I didn't want to give away shit, because I went into this literally knowing nothing about it at all. Nothing. Not a damn thing. I didn't even know who was in the damn thing. Outside, I think Ben Mendelsohn is the only person I was aware that was in this show. And outside of that, I really did not know. I was a total outsider when it came to the plot. Okay, I'm going to end it on that pun. Adios.